You know, I call it the D&D, the D&D. As coaches, as adults, as mentors, you either in the game for one or two things. You either in the game for developing or demoralizing. And you got to make a decision. You got to make a decision as a mentor, as a coach, as an adult. If you're demoralizing, step down, step back. Let these kids, show them the way. Like you said, the doors gonna open up as long as you help them develop.
Damn, Ingenious made the beat.
Yo, welcome to another episode of the Coach Life Podcast Radio. I am, of course, your host, the Prince of Positivity, Coach Steve. Join with me, as always, the dime dropper himself, Coach Luna. How we doing, bro?
Bless and chilling, man. This thing like a train rolling.
You know it.
No gas, no brakes on it, though.
You know it. Oh, you eventually want to stop. Eventually. Just for a pit stop. Shortly, maybe, right. Maybe. The CEO, founder of the Coach Life brand, Coach Wash. How we doing, Brody?
Doing great. We're doing real good. Been making a lot of moves and progressing. So I'm excited to share what we keep doing.
Oh yeah. Is that a new Coach Life hoodie?
This whole thing, this is actually This is actually one of the first mock-ups that, it's not new.
It's not. It looks new to us. That's all I'm going to say.
It's new. It's not new to you.
New to us.
You got to distribute the merch, man.
Right.
Hey, man, it's a lot of sampling that go along with this clothing business, man. So I got stuff that people ain't seen, just trying to make sure I get it right.
I feel you.
So this actually was on the website. This actually did sell. I did not withhold this. Now, if you did not buy it, that's one thing.
Touche. I'll let that one go.
This color actually is a few people out that ordered this that have it.
Okay. Touche. Maybe I need to pay attention. That's all. But I'm just saying, it just looks new. That's all. Coach Luna, that look new to you? You seen it on the website? See? Okay. I'm just putting it out there.
It's a year old. Now, if you didn't browse the color options, that's
you're probably right. That's probably
there were 5 colors. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, you're right. I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there, and I'll just go browse.
Since we getting hung up on this, I'm gonna relaunch this shit. I'm gonna bring it back out.
Thank you. Thank you. That's all I'm asking. Can we hit the reset button one time? That's all I'm asking. That's all. We'll have one in white. I think it would contrast the background very well. But I digress, sir. Because we have a very important part that we're talking about. Because again, with Coach Wash starting his own business and being an entrepreneur, again, we talked about this before in previous pods. You need a coach, you need a mentor pretty much for everything. Whether you know it or not, you need a mentor or a coach to help you get to the next level in whatever it is that you're doing. And today, like no other of our other podcasts, we have a special one. Today, we have Mr. Coach Sheldon Harris, a previous mentor of mine, former coach for St. Joseph High School, Benedictine University, LT, Lyons Township. Coach, where else have we been at this point?
Elmhurst College.
Elmhurst. Oh, gee, yeah.
Elmhurst College. You went to Elmhurst?
Yeah, he coached there before he went with us. Yep.
And I'm currently
afterwards. Yep.
And currently at Glenbard West High School. So
making the rounds. This is a special one for me personally because Coach Harris is one of my mentors back when I was getting into football. He's the one that actually was the the igniter for me to actually start playing football. But before we get into all of that, I want to talk to Coach Harris. I want to kind of open it up for people who do not know who Coach Harris is. Coach Harris, can you tell us a little bit about you, sir, your background, where you come from, and how you got into coaching?
I started out, well, I'm from North Lawndale, west side of Chicago. My parents moved out to Broadview my freshman year in high school. So that was a huge culture shock. Coming from an area where, we're all familiar with that, not too many other people that's not of color, that was living in that area. And then I get out here and it was just, you know, just a culture shock. I mean, culture shock as far as, color and the way you carry yourself and everything else. And that was really about it. I got into coaching. I was telling you earlier, I got into coaching. I went to watch my little brother. I went to watch my little brother that's 10 years younger than me play it at St. Joseph. And, I just kind of like snapped. I got up on the bus and talked to the kids and everything else. And next thing you know, I get a phone. We had voice, not a, we had a, what do you call them? Answer machines. We had answer machines back then. I'm showing my age. We had answer machines. And then somebody left a message on the answer machine about, coming out for an interview. I'm like, interview for what? I didn't apply for anything. I didn't put my name down for anything. So it wasn't even a blip on my radar. And it was Tom Mitchell Sr., was a Hall of Fame coach, had tried to recruit me to come to Brother Rice and play. And it was just history from there. I went in there and I interviewed with the son, Tom Mitchell Jr., you remember him.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been coaching ever since then. So that started out in 96, 95, 96, 95, 95. So, and I just kind of like been going.
Been going ever since then.
Been going ever since then, nonstop.
So this podcast is centered around mentorship. And again, we talked about the basis of mentorship. And it's super important to have somebody that can help you get, like I said, to that next level, help you level up. How important is it, Coach, for you, mentorship? And what does mentorship mean to you?
Mentorship is everything, man. I think it goes by, it's supported by the way that you were raised. That's where it comes naturally. If you had somebody do something for you to help you propel, then that's internally. That's in you. So you're gonna try to find a way to help someone else propel or level up to that next level. Now it's just a matter of finding exactly what it is that trigger that person or what it is that motivate them. But that's up to you as an individual, as a coach, as a mentor, to find it and fine tune it and help them expand. So it's for me, it's always been about paying it forward. If somebody did something for me, then it's my job, not my job, it's my duty to humanity to help somebody else move forward.
I love that answer because one of the things that it showcased is that, again, it's not about me, right?
Mm.
It takes itself out. It takes itself out completely. It makes it selfless. Now it's about you. It's about your growth. It's about, again, like you said, paying it forward. I know like we talked about this offline a couple times. Why do you think that's something that's missing in today's coaches?
I think like with younger coaches, when they get into coaching and mentoring, I think they think about where they can propel themselves and not about the lives that they're going to affect in the years to come. You know, it's always it's always in my mind that how do you want to be remembered?
Mhm.
What is your legacy? And people don't really understand that sentiment of legacy. See, you can go out there and you can win a state championship, but if you didn't if you didn't affect the lives or touch the lives that built it, that helped make it manifest, then you're just another name. You know what I mean? You're just another name, another number. So you want to build that legacy where your name continues on. So a lot of young coaches, when they get into coaching and mentoring is one and the same thing. It's all educating the youth. But a lot of young coaches, they get into it, they get into mentoring and coaching and seeing about how they can make a name for themselves and not focusing on how they could sustain their name, make it continue on. You know, you want to touch lives. You don't want to just touch the record books. That'll happen in its due time.
Putting people in positions to win. You'll
Exactly.
eventually get into the record books the way you're supposed to get into the record books.
Right. You don't have to do all of that. You don't have to do all of that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I think the winning will come. It will come with it. And you know, one of the things that I was thinking about too a lot with this, you know, with talking to you guys is that it doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't matter what you know. What really matters is what you can share and help that other person to expand. So you can have all this knowledge in the world, be it in the books or be it in on sports or you know, be it in the music, the arts. But if you can't teach someone else to tap into that gift, then it ends there. So you got to be able to share it. You got to be able to motivate. You got to be able to tap into that gift and help help them propel because then they'll come back and feed you.
Mm. Mm.
It's a full circle. Hey, that made me think about the pod we just had talking about giving, man. Because you touched on it. The gift isn't ours. The gifts aren't ours.
Mm-hmm.
So
Borrow.
they borrow. You know, we can't be gatekeeping. It's given to us to share.
Mhm.
Exactly. I agree. I was talking with someone earlier about it. I was talking with this one young lady about, you know, she was gifted in the arts, you know, with music and you know, with instruments, and she didn't want to do it anymore. And I'm like, you know, God gave you this gift, and I know that you feel for yourself that you don't want to continue on with it. But what about the other young people that was inspired by you, watching you share this gift? So now you have a responsibility to expand on that. It's not about you. It's about others. It's about the people that's watching you. It's about the people that's learning from you because when they watching, they learning in everything. It doesn't matter if it's the arts, the sports, the books, you know what I mean? The youth is always constantly watching. And I never really understood that until, you know, I had my kids, you know.
Oh man, that's the
That's
lesson. That's the ultimate lesson.
different experience there. Very different
Oh
experience.
man, when they start saying stuff back to you that they heard you say, and you think they ain't paying attention, they're paying attention to everything.
Everything,
Man.
everything.
That leads me to another segue question. When we talk about the relationship between the mentor and the mentoree, how important is it to have that relationship and foster and grow that relationship so that you can help sharpen each other?
That's a good question. I feel that when you foster in that relationship, you have to go down to the bare bones. You can't you can't build that relationship from a hierarchy, from one person being here and the one person being there. You have to share that, you have to build that relationship as equals. Or and not so much of equal. Yeah, you are equals, but you have to show them that you can relate,
Mm-hmm.
Common
that I
ground.
was there where you are. You know, where you're at right now, I identify it. That was me 15 years ago, or four or 5 years ago. And once you build on that, once you tap into that part of the relationship, then I think both both the mentor and the mentoree are both sponges on expounding and finding different ways to grow. But you got to put, as an adult, you got to put yourself out there. You can't just look at it and say, oh, well, I'm the mentor, you got to follow everything that I say. No, because then they're going to shut you out.
Every single time. It's funny that you say that, because I literally had that thought as I was driving back before we got to the pod. I was thinking about it. And it's funny that you asked that question, because that's the exact question that I asked myself in my head. And I literally was like, it comes with that humility, just like you said, and that vulnerability of putting myself out there, because I've noticed when I have done those things, and because that's the way I approach the kids. Like I'm an open book. So, some kids make fun and be like, oh, here come Coach Luna, one of Coach Luna's stories. But it's one of those things where I'm like, look, I'm showing y'all so that it's out there. Y'all know exactly what can happen if you go this route, this route. If you're gonna go this way, these are the potential hurdles you may run into. Man, 100%, Coach Harris. Like that is definitely the way to attack any from the mentor aspect for sure. Is putting it out there. I've been here before, and all that. That it gives those kids, because as adults, we should be more emotionally mature. We should be a little bit more mature in our
Mm-hmm.
in our behaviors and things like that. We should be the ones to open that door so that they can feel comfortable to go ahead and do the same. But often I don't think a lot of adults have that, that vulnerability, and they want to be that more of a dictator
Yes.
of, listen to me because I'm the adult. I'm coach. So listen to me. And the amount of times that I've heard kids after they graduate and they go ahead and they tell me some of the stories that they have, I'm just like, in the back of my mind, in my heart of hearts, I'm like, I'm sorry that you had to experience that. As far as that's your that's your point of view when you reflect back on your experience.
Right.
And I'm sorry that had that, and that's what stood out to you. And I'm like, man, that's not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You're exactly right, man. I think a lot of people think vulnerability means weakness, but in my mind and in my heart, vulnerability means growth. Vulnerability means opening the door to expand, to grow, to, just opening up yourself to learn more. And like I tell my kids all the time, when it comes to coaching, it's like, hey, look, I'm experienced in the years. Don't let that fool you, whatever. But if I don't know the answer, if I don't know how to make you better, I owe this much to you, the truth, and say, hey, look, I'm gonna find someone that can help you get better. I Just because I've been doing this for 20 some years don't mean I know it all. But I'm also vulnerable enough, and I'm also honest with myself enough to know, hey, look, this kid is looking to grow. And if I can't help them grow, I gotta find somebody. I don't give a damn who it is, where they at, I'm gonna link them up. You know what I mean? I'm gonna link them up. And that is another level of vulnerability as being in the coaching and mentoring for these years. So you know, I like I said, you got to pay it for it. And the kids don't care about what we did. They don't care about what we did. They in the beginning, they care about where you played at or who you played with. But then in the end, when you get beyond that, the kid is coming to you for straight knowledge. They're looking for you for tutelage. They're looking for you for relationship. And so it's always been in my heart. Like, I don't care about it's always been in my heart that I don't care about the wins or the losses. And the kids don't care about that. The kid will run through a wall for you if they know that you care for them on any capacity, on any level. So, hell, you can sit up there and, why you think when it comes to football, why you think Buck sweep worked for all those many years, with the Green Bay Packers. They didn't care about that. They didn't care about the play. They care about the coach that was coaching them, the mentor that was helping them see it, So
You get them,
Coach,
you get them to see a bigger picture, clearer picture.
Coach, I got a question. It kind of circles back to that first answer that you kind of had, but this saying that you say, pay it forward. How did that saying get ingrained to you? Like what experiences or what did you go through early in your career, early in your life that made that kind of like that aha moment that said, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is how I'm supposed to do this, and this is the reason why.
I think, like I said, if it wasn't for Tom Mitchell Sr. and Tom Mitchell Jr., that day that I got up on that bus and I talked to those kids, my little brother was a freshman. There was a Coach Murphy. He was a head coach, and he had heard me talk to these kids, and it wasn't really about the game, but he had shared it with Tom Mitchell Jr. So it was like a butterfly effect. Tom Mitchell Jr. and Senior had called me for an interview, and it wasn't even on my radar. Coaching, mentoring wasn't even on my radar. They called me in for an interview, and I'm like, I didn't put my name on the line for this. So I go in, and they said, hey, we want you to coach the linebackers and the running backs. And so I started with that, and I want to say maybe that was 95, maybe four or 5 years later, I had an opportunity to go to Benedictine, and some of the kids that I had coached in 95 and 96 were like youth coaches, and they were sharing some of the things that I shared with them. It's like that tree. You know what I mean? Like you put this out there in the universe, and it just kind of grows. And so now it was like something that I shared with someone, my passion, it touched them. Now they're passionate to someone else. And so it just kind of materialized. It was like I said, this butterfly effect. And you figure out, like, for me, that was my aha moment. I think it was like 2000. 2000 was my aha moment, because some of the kids that had played for me 4 years previous were out there in the community doing their things with the youth. And they were coming to me, not the youth, but the kids that I formerly coached were coming to me for insight. And I was still young. So after that, I got in 99, I had an opportunity, and it was a blessing. It was a straight up blessing that I got a chance to coach football over across seas. They had this thing called the Down Under Bowl. And you toured throughout Australia and New Zealand. And I'm there with Mark Dodd. It was myself, and it was another coach. Billy was his name. Mark Dodd coached at Richmond Burton, and Mark Dodd had coached at Richmond Burton, and Billy had coached at Sycamore, and it was myself, and we was running Team Illinois. So a culture shock. We had zero color on the team, zero color. And these kids were their first time being exposed to someone of color, two people of color, and Mark Dodd. Mark Dodd was a white boy. Sorry, no offense. But those kids, we built this relationship in 4 weeks that was undeniable. We went beyond the barrier of color. And this one kid, he was a lineman from Moline. And I had never heard of Moline, Illinois. Never heard of it. big kid. And he goes, you know, Coach Harris, I've never been around you, which was his exact words. He said, but I want to take it, with me at the next level so I can, share the wealth. And I'm like, what do you mean? You ain't never been around me. Say what you mean. And he goes, I've never been around a colored. And I'm like, oh shit. Sorry, excuse my language.
Yeah,
Oh, it's an open pod.
And I said, this kid said colored. And that went light years beyond the current time of 1999. To use the term colored, that goes back to the 60s, beyond me. But this kid was that touched by the bond that we built that he felt comfortable enough, not knowingly, to use the term colored. And that was another thing, was like, damn, paying it forward is a real thing. Expanding and growth is a real thing. So,
Man,
two.
I don't know how you follow that up right now.
Oh,
This is, man, again, the importance of building a relationship and building that bond. Like, I could only imagine how, maybe I don't know. I have to ask now. Like, how did you really feel at that moment? Like, when he told you that, like, what was the feeling that you had at that moment to, like, I mean, outside of I'm making a massive impact, obviously, because this has changed somebody's entire perspective, right? Like, but how did that make you, like, how did that really make you feel?
I didn't feel anything, to be honest with you. I remember sitting at that hotel. We were in Coolangatta, New Zealand. And I I didn't really feel anything. I didn't feel anything. I just knew that this kid had used a term that he did that went beyond his age and his realm. Something
Mhm.
had been, something had been fostered, had been planted in him, that he used this term of colored. And he didn't that was worse than using it. That's worse than using the N word with our parents. You know what I mean? That's some deep rooted stuff.
Right.
So I looked beyond the self. I just looked beyond the self and was like, let me build this relationship with this kid, and let's continue on. Let's continue on watering this, watering this plant and let it grow. So, I mean, like I said earlier, the sport is a tool. It's a mode of transportation. It's not about the X's and O's. It's about the Johnnies and the Joes. It's about making the connection with the kids that's out there doing it. And if they know that they can be vulnerable with you and you can be vulnerable with them, they'll run through a wall for you, just like I would for them. I think it's been 20, I don't even know, Jesus. I try not to even count the years, but I tell my kids all the time, I will I will always treat you as if you're my own. I will only coach you and mentor you as if you're my own blood, my own seed. That's the only way I know how to be. And so once I get that through their thick skulls, 17, 16, 15, then we can expand, then we can grow. And but it takes time for kids to reciprocate that. But eventually it does happen.
I find that sometimes it's like easier, obviously, for some coaches. And I feel like, again, and you've worked with a number of coaches. where you're able to see that they were able to find it in the kid right away or get the kid to open up right away. There's some coaches that's able to do that like right away. Is that something that you've always felt like you had that gift of having, or is that something that you felt like you had to sharpen?
I think like with anything in life, man, you got to sharpen that. You got to sharpen that tool. You're not going, you may have a way to connect with the kids, but it's always the most challenging ones that help you grow,
Mm,
and it's easy for us as adults to vibe and connect with kids that are of like mind, you know, but it's also easy for us as adults to say, well, I don't really click with this kid because of their background or where they're from. Adults hold up a lot more animosity than the kids do. Kids are just, they're doing what they were raised to do. But it's up to us as the adults to show them a different way. You know what I mean? And show them a different way and show them a different perspective and respect where they're from. So that's the number one thing that you have to learn that I had to learn to sharpen. Because I'm not gonna find every kid that was, from the west side of Chicago, or had high school coaches that didn't teach them the game, or had teachers, that didn't take the time with them. So now you got to find those things that are gifts that got them to stand in front of you at that day, and then expand on it.
Coach Harris, when we talk about vulnerability, I mean, I, I I know Coach Luna's been there, Coach Wash has been there. I know I've been there. I know you've been there. Those times where we felt like we're done, we're empty. I don't have any more left to give somebody. We always, again, all of us on here have felt that, have been in that space, but have found some kind of way to kind of recharge ourselves to continue to pour back into somebody else. Can you pick out a time where you felt like I don't have any more. I don't want to do this anymore. And what was that point that was like, yep, this is the reason why I have to keep doing it.
Man, dude. So I have a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old, and 5 years ago, for coming up 5 years ago, um, I knew that I didn't want to coach my boys in high school. I wanted them to have their own experience and their own connection with their coaches, their own growth. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And not have dad looking over their shoulder. And Chad Headley, the head coach at Glenborough West, had called me up, after a coach at LT had retired, and he said, "Hey, I got a spot for you over here." And at that point, 2019, I was getting to that point where I was kind of like tapping out. Not yeah, I was kind of tapping out. I was becoming the old grumpy coach. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like going out to the field, hey,
Got the
let me
chew
just get
in.
the bags. I ain't got time for this. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
Chad had he called me up, and it it just it rejuvenated me, because now I went over to Glen Ellen, and you had kids that were affluent, affluent families, but they were there like those kids are there because they, not that other programs the kids didn't want to be there, but they
Mm-hmm.
were driven. They were self-driven. And I'll never forget. I come in and I'm coaching receivers, and they are a predominantly run team. And I get there, and the kids are they're running the drills. And I'm like, okay, I can deal with this. So then we get to a point where it's like team time. This is summer camp. So we're in helmets and shoulder pad, helmets, just helmets. And these kids are going live. I mean, full throttle. I mean, knocking people out. And I'm just sitting back, taking it in. And I'm like, damn, these kids, they really want to do it. They really want to do it. And it's not about winning, but they didn't want to let down the previous generation. And so that revitalized me, because now it was like that thing where it goes back to where I opened up and I said, legacy. That legacy, they didn't want to be the one to let down that legacy. That class of 2019 didn't want to let down 2018, 2017, whatever it was previous. And it was like, okay. And I found that common bond, because that went right in line with everything that I live for, that I breathe to this day, is about how do you want to be remembered? What is your legacy? Not as far as wins and losses, but when they say your name, how do you want it to resound?
Mm-hmm.
And that got me. That was it. That rejuvenated me. And so it was like, all right, you know what? I'm in this shit. Let's go.
Seeing their player success, like actually seeing the success. I don't think a lot of people realize, like, even the mentor sometimes need to see the success of their mentoree. Like they like, I need to see that from you also. Like, yeah, I'm giving you all the tools to go be successful and go do what you need to do. But yeah, come back and let me know, like, some of this is working. Like, because if it's not working, then I may need to change up my approach on what I'm doing.
Well, I had the thought this morning. You know how beautiful it is to get some of the game that we have been giving some of these kids, and even if they like hear some of the game that's going on in here, and you hear that, and if you would have heard that when you were like 16, 17, or 18, but then you actually see the fruits of it as well while you're learning about it,
Mm-hmm.
man, I just posted one of my kids that I've been the first kid that decided he wanted to come and work with me when I decided to start my Premier Linebacker Academy. Just got a PWO offer for UTEP.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't have nothing besides a couple D2 offers, and that was it. Now, but I've seen the kid. I've seen the kid work. I know, like, I've seen more, and I'm like, man, you have the ability. You know what I'm saying? We finna tap into it, and I'm gonna teach you what it means for proper preparation. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna teach you the 5 P's. I'm gonna teach you that, stay, be ready so you ain't got to get ready. I'm gonna teach you that. I'm gonna teach you what it looks like. I'm gonna teach you what hunger looks like. You finna see it. You know what I'm saying? And you finna actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, just be patient. Things are gonna happen. No, not later than a month. You know what I'm saying? No later than a month, it already happened. I'm like, bro, do you understand? In my brain, I'm like, man, do you understand the impact if this kid just continues to have that in every aspect?
Mm-hmm.
Man, the sky's gonna be the limit. And I'm just like, man, that is what it's about as a mentor.
That's
Man,
right.
yeah, I can't tell you exactly what's gonna happen, but I can point you in the direction. Your destiny and your journey is gonna be, it may look completely different, because college football looks different than when I played and when y'all played.
Right.
Everything is different as the years pass. But that's here nor there. But these true concrete ideas and concrete beliefs, those things don't shake.
No, never.
Those things don't shake.
I like
They
that. I like
may,
what you're saying, Coach Lynn. I mean, I agree with you 100%. Now like having kids in the game, I call it the D&D, the D&D. As coaches, as adults, as mentors, you either in the game for one or two things. You either in the game for developing or demoralizing. And you got to make a decision. You got to make a decision as a mentor, as a coach, as an adult. If you're demoralizing, step down, step back. Let these kids, show them the way. Like you said, you know, the doors gonna open up as long as you help them develop. Everything is gonna happen. You know what I mean? And that just drives me to a whole nother level, man. Like I look at it now, and that was the thing. That was the thing. Like you to go back on that question. Like when I was feeling tapped out, I had to ask myself, am I here to develop or demoralize? And I'm not just saying develop in athletics. I'm saying develop in relationships as a man, develop as a son, as a son, a brother, as an adult. Or am I demoralizing them in those other entities? Because you know what? They come to me for that development, for that growth. And if I can't give them that, if I can't feed them that, I need to step back. And so it was at that point with those boys, what they showed me, I was like, oh, you know what, man, I'm in it. I'm in it. Not just for them, but then it refreshed me for the other guys, for my own kids. You know what I mean? And that's what I love about, you know, seriously. You know, I'm not jocking, I'm not holding you guys, but you know, when I listen to your podcast and everything else, and I got the message, you know, through a couple of podcasts that I heard you guys talk about, I'm like, they out there developing young minds. And they also out there developing old heads that think they know everything. But they, you know what? That's what it's all about. Developing or demoralizing. And you guys are developing. That's the game. Coach Watch, you are quiet as hell.
He's soaking it up.
He's soaking
I'm
it.
still,
Man, you know
to
that.
this day, still soaking it
I'm
up.
calling you out.
I'm still soaking it up to this day from you. Man, I remember just talking about like, you know, coach's impact. I remember Benedictine and how you carried yourself, and I took a lot from you. Like it's funny you say like losing patience, you know, later on down the road. I seen no patience kind of move up and down even then. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, and then when I started coaching, I'm like, you know, I felt it myself too early, but
Mhm.
I'm a little bit more laid back. But I remember it was one time I remember I felt like you had a good balance and obviously we adults at this time, this college, so
Mhm.
but just a real good balance of like I guess tough love, as I can say, is what I'm looking to say. It's like man to man, and also dealing with the emotions of what the game bring. And obviously, we had our down periods. We were rebuilding, and I remember after one game in particular, man, I just had my head down so low. I was beating myself up. I was like, I felt like I put the game on myself, even though it wasn't nothing in particular that you know, I missed the opportunity to win the game, but nothing for the team. But just like, I'm like, dang, like, what more can I do individually? And you just caught me like walking off the field, head hanging, like, what's wrong? You know, obviously we just lost, but I never really looked like that. I think I was more down than I had ever been at this particular game. And you just kind of like, man, come on, Wash. Like, you said something simple like, kind of like, pretty much get your shit together. Let's go. Like, something along them lines, like little shit like that stick with me because it's the relationship we already had, and then I just knew it was kind of like that said a lot. The simplicity of it because of the rapport we had. Like I feel like you naturally were able to connect with a lot of people, and I knew exactly what it meant when you kind of gave me a short response, and I just kind of picked my head up and like shit is back to work, you know.
Let's get back to it.
Yeah.
Mistakes gonna happen. We all gonna fall. That's how we learn. You know what I mean? And I remember, Lloyd, that was a home game.
Yep.
That was a home game. I think
It
we
was a
played
home
you.
game.
I don't know who the hell we played.
It was somebody we was supposed to beat, and we lost.
Yeah, it was, yeah. But you know what, Lloyd, man, like, dog, you are a great player. You're a great man. That's why you standing on what you own right now. You know what I mean? But we all have to identify those moments. You know what I mean? And dude, y'all doing it. You doing it. You're doing the most. Go ahead, Coach
Yeah,
Looney.
I gotta ask you a question because I love these bars that you dropping without having to be a rapper. I love it. This D&D, you said something about knowing when to, like, if you demoralize and you know how to, you basically you have to step down, right?
Yep.
That has to come with humility. So I know you've run into these types of coaches before.
Mm-hmm.
How do you become that mirror for those coaches who don't have humility and are the best of the best? You know what I'm saying? You know, I don't have to continue to
Nah,
describe
I got
exactly
you.
what I'm talking about.
I
Right?
got you.
How do you approach though? Because I think that's the most toxic part about the coaching culture is
Yeah.
that we decide we want to just coach kids, but then we don't want nobody we don't want other coaches in our world to coach us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How do
How
I
do
deal with
you
it?
how have you dealt with it in your experience?
Man, I ain't gonna even bull crap around that one. Like, that's a tough one because it depends on the relationship that you have with them. That's first and foremost.
Let's keep it at
Yeah.
the friendship level.
Keep
Because
it at the
it comes
friendship level.
out being the same thing. You could end up being in the same realm.
You know what? I try to. You know what? I don't soften the blows, man. I go right at it. I go right at it, and even because I would want the same thing for me. So what I do is, I try to say, hey, look, man, what do you think? With the adult, I'll say to the adult in the coach's locker room, because I'm always professional. What what is the message that you think you were sending to this kid? And if they can't give me, if they can't provide me a constructive answer that was helping them progress, then it's about them.
Mm.
And so at that point in time, it's going to become not hostile, but it's going to become a pretentious moment because the coach is going to identify, hey, look, you know what? I was just ripping this kid just to rip them. I wasn't ripping this kid to teach them. And so when I get across to them, if they come back and they say, hey, look, I was trying to get across to them, which 90% of the time it isn't, they would say, you know what, they wanted to be about their way. So now, okay, but dude, what are you doing? You just ripped this kid and you didn't give him a reason. You didn't give him a supportive answer. You didn't even show him how to correct the mistake. You just went in and said, you know what? We did this 30 times. We ran this play 30 times. No. Show them how to get there. That was something from my career, from my high school days. I'm sorry, and I'll show you why. But in my high school days, we ran straight power. And it was, 32 dive. Fullback gets the ball going through the two hole. Okay. If it was 22, if it was 20, we all know the game. But then as a city boy, I came from the city. I didn't understand, football. I knew 32, but this coach said, all right, fullback gets the ball going through the two hole. But don't tell me where to go. Show me how to get there. Tell me the steps to get there. And so that's when it comes down to developing a demoralize. If you show the player or you show the person how to get there, then they will execute to the best of their ability. So if you ain't showing them exactly how to do it and what steps to take, then you're demoralized.
Mm.
So that's what I point out to the coaches. It's like, hey man, look, I get it. Tom messed up. He was outside linebacker. He got hooked, he has flat. he asked Vlad to, sink the China. Did you show him how to sink the China? He may know what sink the China is, but are you telling him to open up, on a 45 degree and drop 3 yards in between the hash line? I'm sorry, the numbers in the sideline. If you're not telling them and showing them how to get there, then what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
So those are the things that I try to point out to the coaches. It's like, hey, look, I got a rapport with you, bro. We cool, we friends, but did you show this person how to do it, or did you explain to them? And if once they figure that out, that they didn't supply that kid with the knowledge, then they get irate at me. I don't give a shit.
You know what? I relate this all the time. I relate this back to a manager or a coach. And I always look at this like, when we talk about, I'll take it to the football field first. Again, you made a great point when you said, again, tell me the play and then showing me the play, like actually showing me the play. I remember back in high school when you was my return coach and we did kickoff return. I know other teams did this, but this was the first time I saw us do this as consistent as we were, walking through every single formation, whether we went a double wedge right or double wedge left, or again, it opened everything up for me to see exactly, okay, this is the bigger picture of what he's trying to get us to do. So that way, when I saw it break down, I understood where else I could go because it broke down. You gave everybody a deeper understanding when you started like help them break down those smaller pieces. So when you talk about understanding the game, again, we can take that to the office side of everything. Like I think about it when I'm working with, training a new hire. It's like I can tell you, okay, go to the board and click on this and click on that, and go pull this report. Like, yeah, but I need to give you the steps to actually show you how to physically do all of those things. And I think that's something that's missing with a lot of coaches nowadays, is that they don't understand telling me to do something and showing me to do something is two very different things. And I think a lot of them don't really show you because they haven't really learned how to do it.
Exactly.
That, and a lot of coaches are trying to push themselves more than the kids. They want to develop their brand more than, you know what I'm saying? I love that D&D. You developing or demoralizing. And if you're worried about yourself as a coach and pushing you as a coach, and you're not worried about the kids, and you're not worried about, developing whatever it's some drills or whatever it is the case may be, whatever you're doing, if you're not helping those kids and you worried about your brand, like Coach said, you demoralize.
You demoralizing. You gotta make that decision, man. And it's not, that's the thing, like where we're at in this world right now. You have a lot of, I'm an educator, and I feel bad. I feel bad for like these new young teachers coming in, and even in the corporate world, they are just kind of inheriting this title. They're inheriting this position and the title, and they don't understand the gravity of the title and position that they hold. And it doesn't matter, even in the corporate world, even in the education, these people, they don't understand the why, because they've never been taught the why or how, to do something or how to motivate someone. You don't just motivate someone just by yelling at them. You don't motivate someone with the threat of, hey, you're going to get fired or you're going to get docked to pay. You don't motivate them. That's demoralizing. But if you sit down with that person, everybody is at that spot because they initially want to be there and they want to grow. And if you just knocking them down in any field, then you're demoralizing. They don't want to go back into it. So these young teachers and all these people, leaving the education field and leaving the corporate field is because, you know what? they inherit this innate, shark mentality. It's, kill or be killed. You know what I mean? Or survival. You know what I mean? It blows me. It blows me when I see these young teachers come in, and then, especially in the education field, the young teachers, you have a kid that's coming there every day, and they're not turning in work. I get it. They're not turning in work. But if you want to tap into the gift, why is this kid showing up every day? Why is this kid showing up to school every day and not turning in work? Don't look at the work. Look at the positive. Look at why this kid is showing up. And that's where you find that gift. Even in not just with the kids, but even with adults. No one wants to mess up purposely. You know what I mean? Like, no one wants to have that moniker as a failure on their head. So they're showing up because they're looking for some type of tutelage, some type of knowledge, some type of guidance. And that's what mentorship, that's the importance of mentorship. We as adults and as mentors, we have to look at, okay, yeah, this is kind of messed up, but this kid has been excelling in this, or this adult has been excelling in this area. That's on us with the knowledge to put them in the proper place.
Like a circle.
It is a big circle. I want to speak to like this whole thing. At the end of the day, I think there's this term, emotional intelligence.
Ooh.
So I think people only bring it up and talk about it when they're talking about romantic relationships a lot of time, but it doesn't just apply there. It applies to just human interaction, every relationship. And I think a lot of things that we touching on right now, like you said, Coach, nobody showed these people how. So how can you show somebody else how to do anything? Emotional intelligence involves you identifying who you are first. Because if you don't know where that person is, I can't show you where you can be.
Mm-hmm.
Blind leading the blind.
Exactly.
I agree.
And a lot of people don't understand that, like, whatever you have going on, you have to deal with it. That's just like most psychologists have psychologists.
Mm-hmm.
They have to continue to work on themselves to be able to provide the service to somebody else.
That's right.
They can't keep soaking up your bullshit and be consistent at their job, because now they have their own weight. If they don't address that and they sitting on yours, and God forbid they're actual empath and taking on all of this, it's just going to be a downhill battle from there. So, like, even example, like talking to the coach you was talking about talking to, like addressing them, the questions have to be asked. Like, what are you here for?
That's what
Who are you?
Boy, that's
What is your purpose? And what direction are we trying to go in?
Exactly.
Right? Because we have to have a common goal, but like I think it's a lot of people that lack emotional intelligence though. That's why it's hard to find like solid coaches and mentors. It's funny when you was telling your story, I was thinking about a situation with Coach with Coach Luna. Coach Luna had to check somebody in the office once because they
snapped on him.
Snap. Well, I'm just sitting there sipping on my chai tea that I used to get in the morning, and boy, it was a heated conversation, man.
I'll just put it like this, man.
We had a check buddy because like what we talking about, he wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing. He wasn't serving the boys.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He wasn't serving the boys. He wasn't doing them no justice, demoralizing. He was every bit of that.
And he got called out.
Man, listen, bro. That's one thing I'm not finna stand on, bro. I'm not about to sit here and sabotage kids.
Nah.
They're kids.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we're adults. And that most of the time we're double the age of these kids.
Facts.
And we're in the position of where we can literally change these kids' lives for better or for worse. And I say, and I always think to myself, how the hell do you sleep at night knowing that you went ahead and chose this decision to impact this child's life? And now this kid, since then, you see the ripple effect. And you knew that if this kid was taken out of this game, that this was going to happen. And you still were okay with that decision. Dog, it's so many times where I'm just like, man, like Coach was saying, that situation in particular, we're talking about a college coach coming in there and trying to look at certain kids, but
oh no, did we lose you? I think we lost him for a second.
Froze for a second.
You were touching on something, man.
Said coach is more worried about pushing him 3 more minutes. It probably would have got physical, bro. I don't play about playing with kids, bro. I don't play that, bro, because that's not okay. You know what I'm saying? That's something in yourself, deep in your soul, that is dark and ugly, that you're projecting out and you're lashing out on kids because they're younger than you and they can't fend for themselves. You're preying on the innocent.
He was ego
Power
tripping
trip.
too.
Oh,
He
man.
was
Power
ego
trip.
tripping because, you know, he came from a different area. He wasn't happy where he was at. You know what I'm saying? This was supposed to be just a stop for him.
Wait, coach.
You know,
So is this a move up for him?
No.
Now, again, in all due respect, okay,
That's
so this
why I
is a move
said
down. Exactly.
he was struggling with where he was at.
So
Instead of marketing the boys, he marketed himself. And I'm like, dude, you know, Luna checked him. He checked him. It got serious. I thought it was gonna be a minute where I was gonna have to stand up and slide between them. But
you probably would have been asleep before you got a chance to get in there, bro.
Yeah, that was just gonna be me removing
Hey,
Luna.
man, look, I heard you, Coach Luna. I heard everything that you're talking about, and it's like, you know, I have a junior, and we've gone through some personal things. Not with me and my son, but you know, it's a gift and a curse having a coach's kid. You know, and my kid, you know, both my boys, they knew how to watch film, you know, at the age of 4 or 5, because they've been around it. So now they're at the competitive point, which is part of the reason why I stepped down. I wanted them to have their own situations, you know, their own relationships. And, you know, to keep it status quo, you know, their knowledge of the game was very intimidating to the adults. And so the adults were looking for anything or any mistake, you know, that was made. And of course, in football, you know, you're going to make mistakes. But then I'm looking as a parent. I don't care about the mistake. Are you going to help them correct? Are you going to help them correct the mistake? And so now you have, like you said, when it's an adult preying on the youth, I ain't got no, you know what I mean? I ain't got no patience for that. I don't have patience for that. So it became a point where it was kind of like, you know, the communication line was obliterated. And so I have to walk this fine line, you know, because I'm still employed with the school. I'm not coaching there. I know the guys. I coached with the guys. But I have to stand on the sideline and say, hey, look, that D&D, but are you not helping them develop? You know what I mean? Or you gonna ice them out and not talk to them because you're intimidated? You need to get beyond yourself. You have a young and impressionable young man that's that's gonna make moves in life, that I want to make moves in life, not just in football, but in life. But if he can't get beyond your insecurity,
Yeah.
because someone, you have a kid that's been exposed, then why are you here? Why are you there?
And
So
Coach, and that turns into another butterfly effect, because if you think about it, that adult interaction carries through college, and by the first
Mm-hmm.
time they finally have to deal with an adult, they automatically think, man, the last time I was like this or had an opinion or said anything, coach chewed my ass out, or coach
Mhm.
did this, or coach did that. That is the part where I'm huge on everything that what you said. Like this, it's just sticking to my brain. Like that interaction that we have with these kids lasts way longer, and just like you said, have such a huge lasting impact. Nobody really just wants to shine a light on how much of that. Just think about the interaction that you and Coach Wash were talking about. He talked about this certain event, and you remembered the game.
That's what I'm saying. That's
I don't
ridiculous.
even remember how. It doesn't even need to be said how long ago it was. Just know Coach Wash ain't played football in some time,
About a
right?
good 18 years
I was gonna
ago.
say
A
again,
good, saying it's
18, right?
almost 2 decades.
18 years, y'all.
God damn.
Damn.
That's
Man,
a long time, is what I'm trying to say, and that's still a memory, and that is the part that I'm so glad that we're touching on this, because that part of has been, I feel like it's just getting smaller and
It's like,
smaller and smaller.
yep.
Mm.
You're right, dude. Like, and no one, like, dude, man, look, I spent many sleepless nights. You know what I mean? Getting up in the middle of the night, sitting beside myself, biting my tongue and everything else. And I, I just woke my boy up and I said, hey, look, the world is not always beautiful, and you're gonna have to see people for who they really are.
Mhm.
But with that being said, you have to take from them what you can and utilize this vehicle to propel you. And he was like, what do you mean, Dad? And I'm like, well, this, there's always gonna be people out there that's full of shit. But sometimes you gotta sift beyond the shit to find the gold, to find that knowledge. And so he learned the game, you know what I mean? The game of life. That's why, your logo up on the left side,
Yep.
life.
The light
You got to
bulb.
learn to do that. You got to learn to play that. And it's, you got to see people for what they are, who they really are. This is an insecure person that's never been, acclimated to someone that have knowledge or have experience. And guess what? They're expounding their insecurities on you, but you still grow, you still rise. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's all about. And I mean, like, when I heard you talking about that, look, man, don't you ever prey on kids. I would never, man, look, you want to talk about something that'll make me lose my shit? Sorry. That
Good. Trust me, that's how
Absolutely.
I felt.
you
How
want me,
everybody should feel. That's how
you
all
want
coaches
me,
should feel.
I would lose my shit if I find out an adult is trying to take advantage of a child or trying to make a name for themselves on the child. Look, man, oh God, I've had some great, great, phenomenal athletes that have played Division III to Division I to pro. And you know what I always say? They go, how did it feel to have this player? You know what? I'm tell you honest God truth, what I tell the papers. That was created 17 years ago on a Friday night. I had nothing to do with it. That was between the mama and the daddy.
Mm-hmm.
All I
I just
did
coached
was
them.
all I did was coach him and like not mess it up.
There you
You know
go.
what I mean? But
Mhm.
you know, I just want to, before I don't know how long we're gonna go, but there are a list. There are so many kids that has changed my life, and I would go, I want to do right by the Confortis, the Bufords, the Haydens, the Stantons, God, uh, Jamie Jones, man, there's so many kids. Pierre Walters, you know what I mean? Like Mark Thomas. God dang, man. Jesus. But it wasn't even about like the athleticism. It was about the connection and the coachability. The Matthew Harrises. God. The Ben James. I still want to catch up with Ben James. You told me you was gonna give me his number.
I got to get you his info. I got to get you his info.
And Lloyd's, Seabass, Sergo. God dang, man. What was the brother's name? The
Borsalinos.
Borsalinos.
Mafia family, what?
Those boys.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Hey, but you know
Hollywood.
what?
Shout out the Hollywood Borsalinos,
dude.
yo.
Man, the Borsalinos. I mean, I just want to. There's been so many kids and men that have touched my life, and I don't, I want to give them a shout out, just like to you, Buford. Like, seriously, I'm so proud to see you and Lloyd, Coach Luna doing good shit, real stuff, man. That's making moves. Because it's like we said earlier, you either business and you're either in the business of developing or demoralizing, and you guys are 100%, 1000% developing. This word get out, and it's only bigger things are gonna happen. That's all I know.
Coach, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time out to talk to us today. I know Coach Luna and Coach Wash, like I said before show, we've been talking about this for about 3-4 weeks now. And I've been saying it for the longest time. And I know that they probably tired of hearing me say, can't wait to Coach Harris on. Can't wait to Coach Harris on. So again,
delivered. Package delivered.
Yes, package delivered. 100%. No Diddy.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Let's throw that in there real quick. But again, I want to say thank you, because again, it means so much to show the proof in the pudding. Again, we talk about being a great coach. You have produced so many great athletes, so many great young men in this world, and so many people that have been able to go and do amazing things out in this world right now. And I know that each and every one of them can still remember a time where Coach Harris gave them a little bit of knowledge or a little bit of wisdom, or that one little thing that they needed to make them say, okay, I know what I need to do now. I got it now. It makes sense. So again, we done already lost him. Probably shut his camera off because he was crying. There you go. You back now? Okay. You got your tears. You right.
Hey, no, man. You know what? Hey, dude, you guys, man, seriously. Talk about vulnerability, man. You guys almost put me there. I lost everything that you had said, beautiful.
No worries. You're here on playback.
I was like, man, don't have me get on here and start crying about, because I don't even, man, it is what it is. But
you don't know what you do to affect people,
man. Another thing, like all these years, you know what? Like, I've been around Hall of Fame coaches, and that's a blessing. That's a blessing to be around Hall of Fame coaches that won national championships at Division I and Division II, Division III, and high school. And there was some positive things that I learned, but I also learned what not to do, what not to be like. You know what I mean? And I could be wrong, but hell, I think those things of what not to do and what not to be like are more valuable than what to follow, than what, than what the trend is, you know? So, and I just pray. I pray to God every day. Huh?
I was gonna say, it sounds like we're gonna have to have a part 2. You're gonna have to expound on that a little bit more. It's
Right.
like, sound like a part 2. That sound like. Well, I know we are
reached our
getting
time limit.
Yeah, we hit the time limit on this one. We hit the time limit on this one. But like I said, we gonna have to have you back on, Coach. Have to have you back on. Before we get up out of here, Coach Wash, Coach Looney, you got any closing our remarks before we get out of here?
Coach Wash, you going first or me?
You go first because I gotta spit my piece.
I was gonna make you do that at the end anyway. So you have a choice.
Man, Coach, again, man, I thank you so much for coming on here because again, I'm pretty sure these guys have probably heard you speak before, so they got to get a couple of the nuggets that you were able to put out for a long time, and now just for me to be able to catch a couple, I truly appreciate it. And like this whole part about being the mentor and the mentoree, understand where you may be in a certain role in the relationships that you may have with certain friends and certain colleagues. I say that because last week, it's funny, we were in the sauna we just finished our workout, me and Charles, and we just sitting there, we're talking, and this older gentleman happens to overhear us, and he just asked Charles, "Hey, what's your routine?" And Charles is like, "Eat and work out." Like I told you, Wash, Charles is y'all very
Charles,
similar.
bring your ass. Bring your ass.
Y'all very similar in like how y'all approach. But I'm
Get on
over
the
here looking
pod,
at Charles like, bro, you one of the most like disciplined people I know. Don't get that man. You know what I'm saying? But we dug in a little bit more into the conversation, and I ended up just talking a little bit more about how Charles has been helping me. And the dude said one thing to me, and it kind of like it was like oh shit, yeah, I guess you're right. He was like, man, you got a good mentor. And I never thought of it like that because me and Charles are the exact same age. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's my dog. But I'm like, well, think about what it is to be a mentor. Like, what are those qualifications? And I was like, man, you know what? The role he plays for me in my physical journey, he is my mentor. You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to how I'm eating, how I'm working out, things that I'm doing, things that I'm trying, him, Bamfo, even Shelby, you know what I'm saying? All these guys all these guys, they're all hitting me in different aspects in my life that I'm like, okay, even if it's something that's indirect, I always tell the kids this, if I'm coaching one, I'm coaching all. You know what I'm saying? And that's the same thing with just anything that we put out on the pod or put out, you know what I'm saying? Most of the time we have individuals that we can think of when we're saying certain things. But again, if I'm coaching one, I'm coaching all. You know what I'm saying? This message is way bigger than just for me. It's not servicing me. I'm not here to service myself. I can give two craps about whether or not this comes back to me. But I know it's going to impact somebody. And I don't need the pat on the back. I don't need the recognition. You know what I'm saying? I think as a mentor, that part of humility of what you said is like, do the work, pay it forward, and understand that it's not on your time when it's going to come back. Just know it's going to come back. Don't anticipate. Don't sit there, wait for it. It's going to happen when it happens. Just continue to put the work in. Continue to do what you're supposed to do. Continue to approach the way you're supposed to approach.
Just do.
For sure. Yeah, Charles, get on the pod, man.
This is like the 16th time that I've heard Charles. So
I ain't met him yet, but I'm definitely calling him out.
I haven't met him yet either.
I know that's gonna happen.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
On this motherfucking pod, he gonna do that.
Yeah. So know that. Yeah, what he said. Exactly what he said. Charles needs to be on the podcast. So I don't care if you got your own business, your own something. You're gonna be on this podcast coming soon. So just know that, sir. So timestamp this right here, Luna. Tell them to listen to this part right here.
I'm gonna record it and send it to him.
There you go. Perfect. Just so you know. Coming soon. Coach Wash, what you got, bro? I know you got some bars laid for us.
I got a couple bars. I had to pull something out that connected with actually something a little bit older, and I feel is important for this. And we talk about mentorship and vulnerability, but just being good when you're surrounded by shit and being consistent in that. There's no better example. So this is actually like a two-part thing. It's like a short piece called Believe, and then a short one called Scars. All right. So believe like all you have is hope. We can only hope because there's not much real, and real is more scarce than the diamonds that your favorite artist rents at a high price for validation. Even though such prices aren't just for such a jewel that the earth produces abundantly, he still hopes you believe. He hopes you believe in false realities that have been conditioned to believe are important to paint a worthless picture. But the real worth is, I'm sorry, I'm stumbling through this. This is one I'm pulling back out the crates. I'm gonna actually start back over because I don't even like how I was doing that. Bam, bam, bam. You know, Coach Sheldon siren. Right. Don DeMarco, all right. Believe like all you have is hope. We can only hope to believe. We can only hope because there's not much real, and real is more scarce than the diamonds that your favorite artist rents at a high price for validation. Even though such prices aren't just for such a jewel that the earth produces abundantly, he still hopes you believe. He hopes you believe in false realities that you've been conditioned to believe are important to paint a worthless picture. The real worth is the real jewel, and that's real itself, and I hope you for real believe in that. That was a rough landing, but
hey, bro, you got it off.
We gonna go Scars on this.
You made us believe. Know that.
Believe in Scars. I love it.
So Scars is the second half. I said scars leave everlasting pains burned into your brain. A child's purity and innocence are removed like biting apples seeded with evil. Destroying beliefs in Santa Claus, filling heads with man's laws, and silencing hearts like locked jaws. I'm sorry, this will not pause. You will never enjoy the benefits of ignorance. Loss is available for you to reminisce. Can your heart survive the defense mechanism that takes away hope? Takes away the ability to believe in good. Virtues are not destroyed in the presence of evil. Don't let the world's manipulation deceive you. Let the virtue shine through and make them believe you.
Wow.
Strong. That was decent recovery. All right.
We appreciate
that. That was strong.
We appreciate you.
Man.
Coach Harris, before we get out of here, sir, you have any closing remarks before we get out of here?
Thank you. Thank you for having me a part of your growth, your development. I mean, it's really moving, man. And three brothers out here doing what they do, inspiring the youth and the adults. That's what it's all about. I'm so proud of you guys. But I will leave this. Something that my uncle taught me when I was 9. And I'm pretty sure you guys heard it. When a task is once begun, leave it not until it's done. And be a matter great or small, you do it well or not at all. I'm 52 years old and I still live by it.
I'm gonna say I still remember you saying that to us.
Yo.
I still remember you saying that to us. I still remember it in the back of my head.
Man. But brothers, love you guys. Coach Luna, man, Wash, putting the coach on it.
Love it.
Go ahead, man. I'm proud of you guys.
Well, again, I thank you for being on, Coach Harris. Definitely, again, it was a blessing to have you on. Again, if you like what you heard from the Coach Life, wait.
Hold up, Coach Steve. Hold on. I think you need to give us one more. Give us a little bit. What world are we about to step into, man? Where we about to go with this?
You know what? I appreciate you, Coach Luna. This is why you co-pilot right now. You just tap me on the shoulder. Yo,
yeah, man.
Come on, man. Hit the joystick. We gotta go over here.
You thought we was about to go to Hong Kong. No, man.
Quick left on everybody. I appreciate you, sir. I appreciate you. But again, we talked about mentorship. We talked about mentorship for a very important reason. Again, everybody needs a coach. It's a whole purpose around our podcast, again, and getting a coach to help you kind of direct your path and kind of move you in the direction that you need to get moved into so you can help yourself level up. Getting a mentor, getting a coach will help you with that foundation that's needed to entrepreneurship, starting your own business. So that is the next phase of the Coach Life podcast going forward. We're going to start talking about entrepreneurship, the importance of entrepreneurship, how you can start your own business, the faith that it takes to start your own business, the people that you need to listen to help start your own business. Kind of what Coach Harris said just a little bit ago. You need to listen to the good and the bad, because sometimes, again, the good and the bad help you make those decisions to straighten that path out for you. So stay tuned for more of that. We got some awesome entrepreneurs that we're going to have on that are going to be able to put us on a lot of game to kind of help us in our everyday life. And again, when we talk about entrepreneurship, that doesn't mean that you need to necessarily start a job or start a business, right? This can help you just in your normal day-to-day and how you play, right? So again, if you like what you heard, I ain't missing nothing, right, Coach? Coach Luna, I ain't missing nothing, right? We good? We good. Okay, we can land the plane. So again, if you like what you heard, hit that like and subscribe button if you want to hear more from the Coach Life fam. Again, please stay safe out there. And as always, stay positive, my friends.